Good morning, Jane. Oops, gonna knock something over. Good morning, Vesta. Just wait and see if anybody else jumps on. Hi, Pam. Thank you for watching. Hi, Melinda. And Tony, thank you for sharing. How is everyone this morning? Jane's freezing. Yes, so are we. And I know we're not as cold as some people. Hi, Kathy. But it was hard to get out of bed this morning. I just wanted to stay underneath the covers. I did not want to get up. Hi, Maria. And Pat? You've got light snow, Pat? Hi, Kathy. We had, we've got some light snow right now too, but I don't know if we're going to accumulate much. We've had like a total of maybe 4 inches, so. Snowing and cold in Colorado. I bet it's beautiful though. I bet you cannot complain about the view. Something. Oh, Tony. Okay. Catch the replay. All right. Well, we've got quite a few on this morning, so thank you for joining me. If you're new, my name is Julie Heights. I live in Toledo, Ohio. And I've been a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator for a couple of years now. Only a year ago did I venture out to doing some Facebook Lives and doing a monthly card kit. Hi, Susan. Hi, Carol. So welcome. Welcome, and thank you for watching me this morning. How many of you thought it was pretty beneficial? Michaeline, hi. Sharon, I've been wondering about you. Hope all is well. I shared a PDF ahead of time. Hi, Teresa. In the file section on the Quilt Cards and More page. I didn't know whether to post it ahead of time or after the fact, but I went ahead and did it before. Hi, Della. And so I would just like some feedback on that if you appreciated having the pattern ahead of time. Thank you for sharing, Della. Leave it in the comments. I would like to be able to, if it worked well that you had the pattern before, then I would like to keep doing that and working that into my weekly things to do. So thank you, Michaeline, for sharing. I appreciate that. So actually, today's project, the card, was inspired by a quilt block. I saw a quilt block that was a Scrappy heart done in these strips. And I thought, number one, that would make a darling card. And then what spoke to me was, I love the farmhouse feel of like interior decorating and stuff, although you won't see much of it in my home. I do like it. And I wanted to use the Heart and Home Designer Series paper because the back side of all the patterns on that Designer Series paper actually is wood grain, like reminds me maybe of white shiplath or something like that. And you can thank Chip and Joanna Gaines for the obsession with shiplath. I love watching them, by the way. And so I wanted to create a farmhouse feel. So the quilt block was my inspiration, and then I worked in some other product that's in the new mini catalog. And the sentiment comes from the stamp set Blessings of Home. It just says, what a beautiful day for love. And I just want to say that hearts don't have to be Valentine's. I am taking advantage of the fact that Valentine's is coming up. But, you know, this would make a beautiful wedding card, engagement card. You could do it Americana, red, white, and blue on, you know, the the farmhouse, that white wood paper in the background. So let your imagination go. There's already been some samples posted of the card over on the Quilt Cards and More page. You will see that Jean used the Whale of a Time, and she associated her heart with the love of the ocean. I love how she popped it. She matted the heart and then popped it up off of her background. It actually makes me feel like I'm looking into an aquarium. So that was really awesome. She just associates hearts with what she loves, and she designed her card from there. So make sure that you go over and see the samples that are posted already. Hi, Noreen. Who else am I missing? If I didn't see your name scroll by, I'm sorry. I love to say hi to everybody. So we'll get started. I don't have really a lot of announcements. I hope that you're enjoying Celebration. And I would be interested to know, is there a favorite product that you found in the new mini catalog? I am getting really close to hitting a personal sale, well, personal to me. But I kind of set a goal for myself for sales for January, and I'm very close, so that's awesome. We'll keep chatting while we're making the card, okay? So let's get busy. I'm going to flip the camera around. Hi, Jennifer. Okay. And when I stand up, I know I get loud. Just got to balance everything out here. Let's see, we need to change that. Let's see if we can get a little closer. Make sure I'm in camera. That looks pretty good, right? Looks good on the computer. So I'm going to go with it. And now I'll just be reading your comments off of the computer that I have right here. Jennifer, you're from Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Never been to the Dakotas. I would love to go. It sounds like it's beautiful there. Yeah, Vesta, I'm so close. It's just a personal goal that I set for myself, but I'm really close. For those who are watching, if you're not working with a demonstrator and I can be of any help with you with an order, please reach out to me and let me know. I'd love to help you. All right, let's get going here. This was the card that I had posted, and I used the Brights 6x6 Designer Series paper. So I'm just going to duplicate this again today because I have leftover scraps that I want to use up. But I wanted to show you a couple other examples. Oh, and can you see the little brass butterflies that I added? That's a new embellishment in the mini catalog. They're really cute. They got adhesive on the back, so they just stick right down. Here's one that I did in... this is actually the Heart and Home Designer Series paper, the pattern side. And I just used the sentiment, Happy Mom Day. And that comes from the Happy and Heartfelt. I like the font because it reminds me of the font that you see in Farmhouse, like plaques for the wall or things like that, where they mix this font with just regular type font, I guess you would say. So I brought this in because I like the font, and I thought it made a really pretty Mother's Day card. And then on the back, I used a 4x5 1/4 piece of the Designer Series paper, so you could really feel how pretty this card is. When we're making quilt cards, we cut up the paper so small that sometimes you don't get to really see how pretty the paper is. And then this one I like. It's very contemporary. This is the designer series paper that you can earn for free in Celebration, the Daffodil designer series paper. And I just thought it had a contemporary, edgy feel. And then to go along with that, this saying, sending a card instead of a text, is from the Flowing Flowers stamp set in the mini catalog. So I used that and popped it up, and still used the brass butterflies. So those are a couple different examples of what your card could look like. And I didn't use the wood background. This is actually the back side of this paper, but I thought it reminded me of the old dish towels, and so that still gave me that farmhouse kitchen-y feel. But then I thought it was pretty contemporary with the colors and the patterns, very non-traditional for a heart. So I just wanted to show you those two other examples, and I can't wait to see what you come up with. This was the PDF had the pattern here, and it gave you the cutting instructions and then just a quick way of putting the card together based on the card that I made. If you're looking for just the pattern, then you can finish your card however you would like. But I drew out a 3 3¼ by 5 inch grid, and that's actually the size of the layer that we'll be putting the heart on. And I drew it out like that because I wanted to see how big this heart was going to be and how much room it left me for putting the heart down. I found my halfway point so that I could lay down my first strip where it falls on both sides of the halfway point, and then that evened it out on the sides. Let's see, what else? I think that's pretty self-explanatory. You can find the PDF over on Quilt Cards and More in the group. If you haven't joined, just request. After the live, I'll accept the request to join, and then you can go in there, and you could probably, just print this off, and then you would have the pattern. And if you, one thing I wanted to mention about the directions, I listed A, B, and C because I used 3 different papers. If you want to make this totally scrappy, then just don't pay attention to A, B, and C, because you're just going to put the papers down where you want. But these would still be the cutting instructions that you need. Okay? So that's that. I'm going to bring in my pattern. And again, I'm going to use up leftover strips from my very first card. Got to grab some glue. And we're going to start in the middle. Okay, so I know that my A was the red, so I just got to go through and find my red piece that fits right into this, into the pattern there. And then I'm just going to use my liquid glue, shake it down there in the bottle, and I'm just gonna paint some glue down inside that area. I'm not gonna go too heavy because I don't want it running out from underneath the pattern. And I'm going to lay my first strip down. Okay, now I'm going to just be building on the sides. So when I bring in the card that I did, okay, B is the pink polka dot, Flirty Flamingo polka dot. So that fits within the diagram. So we'll put this down. Pretty self-explanatory. It's like a puzzle. You're just putting the pieces in. And you want to make sure that your papers are butted up to each other really nice. And then I'm going to go ahead and go right over here to the other side. We're going to be cutting this off of the grid paper, so you'll want to make sure that your edges are glued down. This has wording on. I want to make sure that's all going in the right direction. So we'll just butt that up. And then we're just going to keep working outside like that. So this one here is a Melon Mambo 1/4 inch strip. Again, now I got to make sure my words are going in the right direction. And those of you that already did the pattern, I'd like to hear some feedback from you, whether you enjoyed the pattern and maybe you see yourself using it again for another card or in the future. I love looking at quilt blocks because there's so much inspiration. And then again, just working my way out. I know that A is my red because that is the color that I started out with in the middle. I can't wait to do one that's really scrappy, that doesn't have to have a pattern. What I did notice is the card that was contemporary looking. When I put all those papers together, it worked really well. Then when you cut up your pieces so small, I wasn't really happy with it, but I forced myself to just keep going. Just keep going with it. By the time I added some baker's twine and the greenery and stuff, it was really coming together and with the sentiment. So I forced myself to keep going. But what I did, what I have noticed in doing the other cards is I think this pattern works really well if you've got solids and patterns that you can use. If you use all patterns, your heart just might get lost. The eye is wandering over all of the different patterns. And when you've got some solids in there, I think it helps. I can speak for myself. It helps my eye land and linger over the pattern so that I can really see it. So I like to use a mix of solids and patterns just for that reason, so that my eye isn't continuing to be searching for something and it never lands. I hope that makes sense. Kind of like when we're doing our quilts, you put a border on your quilts to help contain it so that the pattern isn't looking like it's going on forever and your eye is like searching for more. A border helps contain the pattern, the image, and it makes your eye stop and linger and really look at what's going on within your quilt. Okay, this piece here, what direction's my words? But do you see how fast this goes? It really does go fast. Once I put these last two pieces on, then I'm going to set it aside and we'll look at the other components to the card, get our card base together and the layers that we're going to put down. I'm just going to give this glue a little bit of time to dry. But there's our heart. You want to make sure that all your corners and stuff are down because we're going to be cutting this away. So there's the heart. Hi, Holly. Hi, Jean. I was talking about you. Hi, Janice. Okay, so let's just set that aside for right now. And, you know, keeping with the farmhouse feel, I chose the basic white thick as my card base. And this is 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. I love, if I am cutting my card base this way, I find that when you try to set cards up like this, sometimes they want to splay out or they fall over. So I like when I'm using this card base is to make it a landscape, and it does tend to sit better. So when I've got a landscape mode, I like to cut it the 4 1/4 by 11 and score it 5 1/2 because I think it just sits and displays much better. So there we got our card base. I cut a piece of Flirty Flamingo 4 by 5 1/4, and I'm going to put that'll be our inside of our card. On the back, I am going to bring in another one of the wood grains from the Heart and Home Designer Series paper. I am then going to put my button on the back, and I'm going to do that in Flirty Flamingo. Okay, so you see the elements of the card here. And then the card front. Now, when I had first done these, I stamped What a Beautiful Day for Love. And when I was looking at my card, it just seemed flat. So I went ahead and I stamped it again, did a little banner cut myself where you take your scissors and you just make a little snip there in the center, as deep in as you want to go, and then just go from the corner to that slit and create your own little banner. So I did that. I inked up the edges, and then with dimensionals, I'm just going to put that right over the top because it needed some pop. And so I decided to go that route. My, this layer here is that 3 3/4 by 5. And then my layer underneath is just, it would be 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. I just want a little bit of a peekaboo border around there. Okay, so those are our components. So what we'll do right now is we'll just go ahead and put our inside layers on, and we'll do the back side of the card. How many are working along with me? Or is your preference to watch and then create? I'm one of those watch and create kind of people, because honestly, I want to see what everybody else is doing so that I can get some more ideas. Taking advantage of others' creativity, especially when I just feel like I don't know what I want to do. Okay, so this is the back side. And then we'll put our little button on. Center that. Okay, so that is all done. And I think we'll wait to do our other 2 layers until we've got our heart cut out. So we're going to go back to our heart, and we're going to cut it off of the grid paper. So I'm just going to make this smaller so it's easier to handle. And what I like to do is I like to take my scissors and go up each side of the strips. So this one would go up to the Melon Mambo. This one goes up to the Flirty Flamingo. And I'll show you why it's easier for me when I do this. Because instead of turning my card or my grid paper all different ways to get into all of these different angles, when I get this part done first, I'm just going to continue going. We'll straighten that up. Once I've got all these little flaps, if I go back and just start cutting it, you know, the landscape cut, then these just like fall away. Well, they do if you get your cut all the way to where you did it before. Instead of trying to like go in and all, you know, different crazy angles, I found that this works for me. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ink the edges of my heart to give it a distressed feel. So if I've got a little bit of the grid paper not totally flush, it's okay. It's going to get inked. So then we'll come in and do this side, and then we'll go flip it around and do the other side. And if you happen to catch some of your designer series paper in your cuts, don't worry about it. I'm so afraid of cutting into the next strip that I'm not snipping far enough. There. And then you just go back and you do it the other way. The one that is a little hard to get down into is this one that's pretty deep, but it's not a big deal. And then just go back and just start trimming them off. I am going to try and get some of that paper off there. Let's go get that one. It's when you're, this part of the heart, what do you call the widest part of the heart? All I could think of was the word bloom, but you know when you get to the, like the bloom of the heart, that's the only word I can think of. You do have to get down here in the nooks and crannies and kind of fold the paper back and just get your snips in there. Cut that paper away. Okay, so now we have our heart cut off of the grid paper. And I want to distress the edges, so I'm bringing in some smoky slate because of the grays that are in the layer, the wood layer. I'm just going to stick with a gray. You could do crumb cake, would give it a nice... And I don't have to hit every single edge. You know, I don't have to, all I want to do is give it a little bit of a distressed feel. So I'm just going to let my dauber catch what it catches. If there's any little touch-ups that you need to do, you can go back in with your snips and get that. When this was just really stark is not the word that I want to use. But without distressing it, it just didn't feel like the pattern was landing on the background. So once I distressed it a little bit, then it gave the heart more definition on the background paper. So, and again, it just stuck with that style of making something old and worn look totally in style. Okay. And you can kind of see what I mean laying it on this white background. The inking helps define the heart. Okay. So we'll put that away. And then we will bring in the layer that we're going to put it down on. I'm not going to worry about this because I'm going to pop up the sentiment. I'm just looking for placement here. And then you're just going to glue your heart to the background. Pick it up, make sure that you're somewhat straight. I tend to do things a little wonky. And then what we'll do, now we will glue this down to that, it's basic gray. This is the basic gray that I chose to matte my heart on. Just give it that peekaboo border. And before I do any of the embellishing, I'm going to take some baker's twine and wrap it around. Now I cannot do this taut where it looks nice and smooth going to save my life. So you're going to see me look really fumbly. And this is backwards. I'm right-handed and it just feels like if I don't have things going the right way, I'm not tying it right. Maybe I got to come in from this way. I don't know. One time it'll feel comfortable doing it one way, another time not. Nope, see, that's not right. You know what? I'm cutting it off the spool. That's what's got me feeling crazy, is because I have that spool sitting over here and I cut way too much twine, but I've got a lot of this, so I don't mean to sound like it's not worth being more careful, but okay. You know what? I saw somebody do this trick. I need to do this trick and show you too. To help keep, maybe this will help keep it taut. Okay, so you take a glue dot. Oh, I just remembered this. And I'm going to lift a glue dot off of my paper here. And if you put the glue dot where you want your bow to be, like right there, tie it taut, press it down into the glue dot. See? It helps hold it. Oh my goodness, I'm so glad I remembered that. And then you can finish tying your bow. And it's nice and tight. It's not sloppy on the back. Oops. I have the most fumbly fingers. I don't have a problem tying my shoes, but I sure have a heck of a time tying a bow onto a card. Okay, so then you just play with how loose, how big do you want the loops of your bow. If anybody has a tip to keep your baker's twine from spinning like this, please share it with me. I almost thought about running it through what we use as quilters or stitchers to keep our thread from doing that, but I didn't know if that would leave like a residue on my twine or not. You know, that little square thing that you can run your needle and your thread through so that your like embroidery thread doesn't twist at the end. Well, you know what? You just go ahead and twist, because I'm going to cover you up with some greenery. So you just go ahead and have a mind of your own. I think that size loop looks okay. And I'm going to go ahead and trim the tails off. Okay. So what I'll do now is I will go ahead and adhere this to the front of my card, and then I'm going to finish embellishing. And this is going to have just a little bit, it's going to have a wider border. Okay, so we did that. Now for the embellishments, I brought in, I have a little container. These Kentucky Fried Chicken containers make the best storage. I have this little container with different little, this is from the In Symmetry punch, and I have some different colored leaves here that I'm gonna look for. This is my little flower. This is one of the dies from Nature's Thoughts. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop, I want this to sit over my knot. So I'm going to put a mini dimensional on each side there to help pop it up. Leaving some room for my knot. And then just placing this over that. But now I want to tuck some of these little tiny sprigs in. I think I'll use the brighter green. See how many I have. You know, the whole farmhouse feel, they always work in greenery and some kind of like twine from what I've been researching, you know, bringing the outside in. So maybe do something like that. And so I'm just gonna put a little bit of glue and then just tuck them in underneath the flower. Maybe a little bit under that bow. And if you can't get your fingers underneath there to help push it down, I like to come in with my bone folder and just stick it underneath there and help press that down. I get quiet when I work. I've taken different art classes, and it's funny because the teacher will be like, we know Julie's into her work because she's so quiet. So I think they're saying that when I'm not busy doing something, maybe I talk too much, because I do like to talk. Let's see. Nah, I don't like that color. And we'll just find one of the darker greens. I thought I had one right out here. We'll just stick that over by one of the other ones. Instead of having it perfect centered, we're just gonna stick this one right there. Press that down. Okay, so now what we've got left is we've got our sentiment, and I am going to just pop this. Now, to make sure I'm straight, I need to look at it this way. And the trick is, don't push your dimensionals down until you're straight. That doesn't look too bad to me. So there's the sentiment, and then these are the brushed brass butterflies. And just gonna pull them off. We'll put one down here on our sentiment. And then we're just gonna pick 3 of them. The eye likes to see things in odd numbers. So we gotta have one over by our flowers. We'll put one there. And maybe we'll just put one more over here. Make it different than the card that we did that I did before. So there are my 2 cards. Let's play with my tails here. And what a beautiful day for love. Naturally, you know, I think the first thing you think of, especially when you see red and pink, is for Valentine's Day. But a beautiful day for love can be any day. Change your colors of your heart. Don't make it traditional, and see what kind of feel you get. Hi, Mary. Where are you watching from? Your name is new to me. Oh, Jean. So they're using tweezers and using twine. I don't know if I could actually make that happen. I think like I'd be all thumbs. Hi, Carol. Yes, yep, Janice, the distressing helps hide your white edge. Sometimes, you know, you can get those snips in there and get it off. And sometimes if you're going to cut it, you know, cover it up, then don't be so, you know, picky about making sure that it's all off, because you can just cover it up. Susan, cutting this one out is kind of a pain. Yeah, you've got all those corners, but I found that if I went straight up and made those flaps and then came across, it was a lot easier. I wasn't twisting everything around, especially my hand that is holding the pair of scissors. So, okay, so that is today's project. I hope to see some of your work over at in the Quilt Cards and More group. And what I want to do is, out of those who post their cards, all the names will go into a little app. And what I want to do is I want to use your card as the cover for the Quilt Cards and More Facebook group for a week. And then when we do another project and those who share, then there's a chance that if your name is drawn, your card will be the banner or the cover photo for the group page. So we'll see what everybody's doing. And then what I think I'll do is I'll do the drawing maybe early Thursday morning or Wednesday night. if you're going to share your cards, have them done by Wednesday night, because then I'm just going to change the photo in the group page, and it'll be a surprise when you log on as to whose card is featured as the group cover photo. Okay, so are there any questions? Let me scroll down here real quick. Hi, Pat. I'm so glad that you can watch. Everybody show Pat some love. She's not feeling 100%, and she's a very dear friend of mine. So if you want to give Pat some hearts and some well wishes, I'm sure that will make her feel much better. Holly, you are welcome. And again, it's those quilt patterns that seem to inspire me. I see a quilt block, and then it's like, okay, that's got to be a card. Did you all see the Pinterest picture that I posted? They're actually quilt backings, but I thought they were card layouts for like the front of a card, but they're actually how people have pieced the backs of their quilts. And so I thought, wow, look at that. There's inspiration again. So go check out that picture. So that is it for today. We're done a little early. I do want to mention that Sunday evening at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time is going to be the January block of the month, the Barn Quilt Put It Together session. So it's going to be 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And then I will reveal February. And I think you're really going to like February. I will reveal that card kit. It was brought to my attention that in the directions for the January kit, and I just learned this, it says four 1-inch squares of the fresh freesia, and it's 4 half-inch squares. So in my typing, when I was doing the fractions or whatever, I didn't key it correctly. Luckily, what that means is that you're not going to be short any of the cardstock, because you can cut your pieces down, but it's 4 half-inch squares of the fresh freesia, not 4 1-inch squares. So you'll have plenty of cardstock left over. Cheryl, how you sign up for a kit is on the 1st or even the 31st. Once I show you what the card kit is going to be, if it's your first time, I ask you to message me your email address and your mailing address. I send the invoices out through PayPal. I set them up as a recurring invoice because it's really hard to keep track, entering everybody who wants the card kit, entering that one at a time every month. I feel like it leaves me open for missing somebody. So when I set you up as a recurring invoice, what that means is you have the ability from that point on, if you don't want the next card kit, then simply ignore the invoice. If you want the card kit, then just take care of the invoice, and I take it from there. By getting a recurring invoice, it does not lock you into a subscription. I want to give you the chance to yay or nay on the card kit. So if you don't want it, if it's not something that appeals to you that month, then ignore it. What I am going to do is, if I see people who have lost, they don't want the card kits anymore, and I see that several times they have ignored them, then what I'll do is I will delete that recurring invoice so that I'm not bothering them with, they look in their email and there's another invoice that they delete. So again, it's not a subscription. I wanted to leave it open for you month to month to see, you know, if it's something you're interested in. And again, I haven't had to delete very many people, but you know, sometimes the card kit, because I think we work with small squares, is maybe the cutting is a lot for someone, or they wanted to try it, but they got, you know, for whatever their reason is. I don't want them to feel that they're locked into anything. And also, with it not being a subscription, I don't have any of your credit card info. I don't see any of that because you're taking care of it. I don't have to ask you for it so that I can set it up that way. So I hope that explains that pretty well. Just message me your email and your mailing address, and then I will get it set up. Oh, good. Okay. Oh, thank you, Cheryl. Oh, I'm glad that you like the ideas and that you go ahead. Make sure you go over into the group and request to join so that you can see everybody else's creations and get some more inspiration, okay? That's another thing I'm really getting close to, is we're not far away from 400 members in the group. So I would love to see that milestone happen here in the, you know, within the next couple of months. If we can get some more members, we'll hit 400. So that's exciting. Okay. Let me just sit here for just a second and make sure that I'm not forgetting anything. Celebration is this month through the end of February. I can't think of anything off the top of my head right now. If you have any questions, you know, please reach out to me. I love to respond as quickly as I can to any questions that you have. And again, if you're not working with the demonstrator and I can be of some assistance to you, I'd love to help you. The host code for January is right up here. But it's also, there's a link to the my Stampin' Up! Store and the host code at the, in the, I'm losing my train of thought. Not at the beginning of this video, but in the description of the video, there's a link that'll take you over there. If your orders are $150 or more, you don't want to use this host code, because 10% of the total of your order, you earn that back in free product. So you want to use the Stampin' Rewards for yourself if it's over $150. When you use this host code, what it helps me be able to do is I like to send thank yous out to those who place orders of $50 or more with me. And I like to send product back to you. So what I do with the rewards is I use that to purchase little thank you gifts for you and then mail those out. But definitely if you're over $150, then you want to claim those rewards for yourself. And remember that with every $50 that you spend during celebration, there's a brochure of exclusive free products that you get to order on top of what you're earning with your Stampin' Rewards, okay? But if you have any questions about anything like that, just contact me and I can help you with it, okay? Everybody have a very blessed and warm day. I think the cold is I don't know if there's anybody across the country who's above temperature right now of what their normals are. So stay warm, be blessed, and I will see everybody on Sunday night.